Dramatic developments in the Heath Shaw case as both Shaw and Alan Didak admit to lying to the Collingwood Footy Club over what took place on Sunday night.
The Magpies say it strikes at their integrity and the breaking news will reconsider their stance overnight.
We'll have a look at the slam tackle and the heavy penalty handed out to Darren Milburn.
Plus, Jim Steins joins us, the Melbourne president, in the hot seat.
Tonight, more so than ever on Footy Classified, there's no room for the faint-hearted.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Footy Classified, a huge night in football. Thanks for staying up with all the drama tonight surrounding the Collingwood Football Club and revelations late this evening that both Heath Shaw and Alan Didak have lied to the Collingwood Footy Club about their version of events surrounding that car crash last night, which Heath Shaw was charged for drink driving. All the developments on that in a moment, and Jim Steins to join us too. Caroline Wilson, football's First Lady. Welcome. What does this mean for
it's a big
Heath Shaw
story.
and Alan Didak?
It's a big story unfolding at the Collingwood Footy Club, Hutchie, juxtaposed, of course, with their very ordinary form over the last few weeks and clear problems within, well, obviously deficiencies in their leadership. Amazing to think that Alan Didak and Heath Shaw would lie to the club. Amazing to think that Alan Didak would be so silly as to leave the scene of an accident and then lie about it when clearly there were witnesses, to make a fool of Eddie Maguire, who is many things and one of them is a very good journo, and he's missed this, he's believed his players. I mean, the implications are horrendous. I must say, though, whether or not, and Didak is a bit of a red herring, certainly until the lie's been exposed, I'm amazed that they took the decision not to suspend Heath Shaw. I thought that was really weak and their excuses were lame.
Well, the penalty is going to be reviewed, as is said in a statement that we'll see very shortly. As I welcome Glenn Archer to the program. Archer, if you're in charge of the leadership group or indeed the coach of that football club, what would your thoughts be now on both Heath Shaw and Alan Didak?
Oh, I'd go hard now. And I agreed with how they came out today, and they sort of supported the players, and they were definitely angry. They set the boundaries at the start of the season. This is what's going to happen when you muck up. But they've gone too far now. Football clubs are all about honesty and integrity. They've gone out, they've embarrassed the club, the coach, the president. The president was backing him to the hill today, backing Didak to the hill. I'd go very strong. I'd suspend Heath Shaw for the rest of the year, and Didak's had too many chances.
Rest of the year?
I'd Shaw for the rest of the year, and I'll be trading Didak straight away out of the club.
Trade him out?
Good chance. They want to get Jonathan Brown. There's your carrot. Well, there's probably be good for Alan to go up to Brisbane.
Interesting implication. Alan Didak signed a new contract, as we know, a few weeks ago. And the decision about that contract was they were going to remove the behavioural clause that was in the current deal.
Have, yeah.
But have they removed it for this year? They've certainly removed it for the 2 years that he signed the new deal. But as it stands, has Didak broken a clause in the deal that emanated back from the dreadful thing that happened in June last year when he was...
Possibly. The Victoria Police won't be happy. There's a lot of fallout to come in this story. This is what's happened tonight since you saw the news service earlier on National 9 News. Tonight, the Collingwood Football Club has revealed that since today's press conference, the Collingwood Footy Club has established that Alan Didak was in fact a passenger in Heath Shaw's car on Sunday night. The sanction imposed on Heath by the club on Monday was a result of information stated by both Heath and Alan after being repeatedly questioned about the incident. Given the club has now found their information to be false, it strikes at the principles of honesty and integrity that the Collingwood Football Club is built on. And for this reason, the sanction imposed today will be immediately reviewed by the club and media will be notified of a press conference to be held on Tuesday. We understand that Heath Shaw was in tears today as he told the football department that he had misled them earlier today. And both players had... look, I know the natural inclination is to absolutely crucify them, but Heath Shaw, for all of his crimes in this, was at least trying to protect Alan from being a passenger in another
I agree
car
with you.
12 months ago.
Shaw was thinking he was protecting his mate, but why Alan Didak didn't smell the wind at some point today?
They're both
and
as
come
culpable
clean.
as each other. I mean, you can't excuse Heath Shaw on this. I mean,
I'm not excusing him, but I'm just saying...
They were scared, though, obviously. I mean, they were frightened about what had happened.
It has been one of the biggest press conferences of the year. We saw Eddie Maguire and Mick Malthouse fuming, and rightfully so. Then Scott Burns, which we'll see shortly, fronted a media with all of his leadership group around him, and Heath Shaw sat there knowing full well that what he was saying wasn't right.
Here's what Heath Shaw had to say today at the media conference.
Pretty embarrassed. pretty empty, I suppose. It's I've let a lot of people down, and not only myself and the club and all the supporters. It's sort of something that you don't want wished upon anyone, and to find myself in this situation is pretty embarrassing.
And that was before they knew what, in fact, had happened with Alan being in the car and being misled. Scott Burns, a reaction today. Well, we might have a quick look at it before we debate it, because it's very rare that you see a captain as strong on this and a teammate in public. Here's the Collingwood captain, Scott Burns.
Right now, the way I'm feeling is if we played a game right now against St Kilda, St Kilda boys roughed him up and ran him at the first bounce. Look, I'm not too sure if I'd go over to Heath and support him, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty confident we can more than compensate for Heath with a different player this week, but bugger him. We're going to make sure that he cops it. And there's going to be 60,000 people there, hopefully, and 2 million people watching on TV. Cameras will be on him through the whole warm-up. They'll be on him at the start of the game.
Massive peer pressure now involved with Heath. That was in the middle of the day, and what's come to light now, I mean, Scott Burns is an outstanding leader, a great person. He would be sitting at home gutted right now.
Exactly, and embarrassed. And I think during that press conference, they asked Heath about who was in the car, and Scott jumped in and said it wasn't Alan Didak. So he's embarrassed him. Football clubs are all about this, the leadership groups and all this sort of stuff. It's all about empowerment and honest and open feedback.
Well,
and
hang on a minute. Not at Collingwood. The North Melbourne Football Club's leadership group suspended Shannon Grant, risking his 300th game. The Essendon leadership group suspended Andrew Lovett. In Adelaide, I think John Cock got suspended. Peter Burgoyne suspended by Port Adelaide. The list goes on. Had Kane Johnson not suspended himself, the Richmond Football Club's leadership group would have done it. This club does not take a stand through their leadership group. The leadership group are occasionally they're consulted, Gary.
Mick
Malthouse wrote as much.
That was set at the start of the year.
Suspend them for games is not saying that they haven't been empowered to make tough calls. And look, whether you agree with it or not,
the leadership group weren't consulted about Alan Didak last year.
They choose not to suspend for games. And you can't
it's not the leadership.
with that.
I'm not saying the leadership group make that decision. I'm saying Mick Malthouse and his footy department and his board, they say we might ask your opinion, but we're going to make the decision, not you. Other clubs have empowered their leadership groups to take control.
But they're entitled to do that. You can run your footy club as you see fit, and they've got a big supporter base they're answerable to.
Glenn said it's up to it's not at Collingwood, and Mick Malthouse has written it, and Nathan Buckley told us on Beat the Press last year the leadership group was not consulted about Alan Didak. Well, you just have to wonder whether maybe if they'd been tougher in the past that this wouldn't have happened again, because I reckon it is wrong to say his biggest punishment is to go out and play. There is no greater punishment, Glenn, than to tell a bloke he can't play.
But that's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
Which is fine.
That's the boundaries that they've set. That's the boundary.
Exactly, a different philosophy.
They're sticking by that. I'm not talking about leadership groups suspending. I'm talking
admit
about
that, and don't
players
say
being
we're going
open.
to punish him but worse by making him play. Every player I know is desperate to play, particularly when they're taking on St Kilda for a spot in the finals. They need him to play. That's why he's
going to face the media again on Wednesday. There might even be a school of thought that they both have to lead them out on Saturday night and cop the boos of the fans and really get put under the microscope as well. I mean, I think it's quite a novel way to discipline. This has happened before.
I'm just pointing out Collingwood do it differently than any other club, and at the moment it's not working for them.
Look, point 114 is the reading, we believe, and he's been charged as well, Heath. There's certainly going to be a fallout for him from a police sense as well. Eddie Maguire was on the front foot today, as was Mick Malthouse and the leadership group, as you saw, and... shout out tonight, Eddie Maguire as well, you'd understand. Here's what he had to say before he knew he'd been lied to.
No more, no dancing around the subject. This is not trying to look for an easy excuse. This is not spin, this is not anything else. We are angry, we are furious, we've had enough. The public have had enough. The public have had enough of this situation. No more. We stand for something at Collingwood. We like to say, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. Well, it's all right talking about it, but people have actually got to get on the process as well. No, not just Mick Malthouse, who stands up and stands for something, not just the board all the time, not just our sponsors, not just our supporters, and as I said, not just the 98% of the playing team who do everything right 100% of the time. The knuckleheads who fall over have now got to be accountable.
So the rumours that Didak was in the car are off the mark?
Didak will be accused of the Kennedy shooting next.
And that's what you open yourself up to, an embarrassing club
He also went on
like that.
he described, when he talked about the person who was in the car with Heath Shaw, he said you've got to learned at some point to get rid of your scaly mates. Because he thought that some scaly mate was in the car with him. Well, prophetic words, as it turned out.
It was interesting, Eddie and Mick, and I thought it showed good solidarity to put your head up and face the music as an entire footy club. The comments of Nathan Buckley, though, tonight on Radio 3AW were interesting. Take a listen to this.
I can't understand why Eddie and Mick really had to discuss it. Generally, the footy manager deals with the disciplinary issues, and the footy manager gets up and they move on, because that happens with other clubs. But it seems that any little issue with Collingwood, and this isn't a little issue, but any issue with Collingwood gets blown up a lot more than it needs to, and I think the club actually has a role in that.
You're telling Eddie he shouldn't have spoken?
I don't know why. I mean, I can't think of any other president that would have had to address that issue on the day.
Really strong and potentially inflammatory words.
Staggering. That is staggering.
It is, isn't it? I mean, this is a massive issue. I mean, the Collingwood Footy Club, and I hate to mention the fact, that Darren Mullane, a favourite son, has died in really tragic circumstances. So it is a very sensitive issue to this footy club. They've lost their sponsorship over it. They take it seriously, and I think that's why you saw a fired-up president and coach today.
What about them being out in the first place on a Sunday night? Did you have a problem with that? Is it fair enough, Sunday before a big Saturday night game? You got a 2-day extra advantage on St Kilda.
Yeah, but big problem with it. You play Friday night. If you want to have a drink Saturday, maybe Saturday night. Sunday night before a Saturday game, players have got to understand there's a time and a place to have a drink. Look at your calendar and say, right, we've got an 8-day break, I'll have a drink here. You've got to be smart about when you have a drink. You don't have to be a choir boy, but be smart about the time and the place.
I think it's got lost in all of this, hasn't it? I mean, this is a footy club who are, if not on their knees, heading that way, potentially in danger of missing out on the finals.
On a
the
Sunday
CEO
night.
of the AFL made that comment today. He said he was very surprised 4 weeks before the finals that players would be out drinking to that extent.
Not the first time that Heath Shaw's been challenged about having a drink on a Sunday night this year, by the club, and not the first time that Alan Didak has been under the microscope as well for it. I mean, amazing to think with 4 weeks to go that you would even, in a very busy bar, a very popular Sunday night bar in Melbourne, that you would put yourself in that position. Yeah.
We talked before about leadership groups. Now, prophetically again, Mick Malthouse actually wrote about this issue a couple of weeks ago in his Australian column. He said, I believe their business is to play, not to be judge, jury and executioner. Now, that is exactly the way he regards leadership groups. He then went on to talk about the Geelong leadership group and how they might have been a little bit inconsistent in their treatment of Steve Johnson and David Johnson, the VFL player who was caught drinking, I think, Hutchie on the eve of the grand final last year. And then he said, but I wasn't in there, I don't know, so maybe I can't judge. But the point is, they have a very different attitude at Collingwood to their leadership groups. They are not given the power that other clubs give their leadership groups. Mick doesn't rate them that highly.
But that's fair enough too, though, because there are other people who are critical of the fact that too much power is being handed over to the players.
I'm just making the point, but I do think that they were weak today with their arguments. I'm sorry, I
thought they handled it well today.
Every player I know, and every player I know, the worst punishment is to be told you can't play, particularly when... And to say Heath Shaw can be easily replaced is not really true. I mean, Heath Shaw is a vital part of that Collingwood machine, and they need to beat St Kilda this weekend.
OK, then last word, we've got to move on. It's just repeating what... If you were in charge there now, you'd suspend Heath Shaw for the rest of the year?
Yeah, no doubt.
And Alan Didak?
Too much. Yeah, and they've supported him. How many times have they supported him? Well, if someone gives you crap, they're going to give it to you again.
He's the best player.
I know, and it's hard.
Told a lie.
He's a fantastic player, but...
He's told a lie, but let's not forget that he was involved in a major incident with an underworld figure last year, which has left him on the edge and very worried about the perception of himself and fragile in a public sense.
So you probably wouldn't put yourself in that position again.
I'm not excusing what he's done, but I mean, he's victim of being in a car at the moment and leaving the scene.
No, he lied.
Yeah.
It's not forget.
Which is the other thing.
You can understand his fear, though. I mean, I'm not defending what they've done. Fair enough, throw the book at them. But you can understand his fear of his career being over.
No, I can't, Hutchie. I'm sorry, I can't. I would have thought that now more so than ever, he'd put his hand up and say, look, I was there, I was in the car. Well, I didn't do anything wrong. I probably should have said don't drive. But, yeah, I was in the car. I don't understand his fear at all.
The radio news is...
And you understand Heath Shaw protecting his mate.
Channel 9 News, the radio news is all afternoon. We're playing comments from witnesses who said Alan Didak was in the car. The police told The Age they believed he was in the car. Surely the penny would have dropped before, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock tonight when he came clean.
Stay tuned. Press conference tomorrow. We'll find out exactly the fate.